Sweet.
That's
We are
nice.
back.
We are back with the veteran voice of the Ask. Hexagon.
Yeah, you can't say the O word.
Hexagon. It's so irritating. Why are there
It
so
is.
many fucking cages?
I know.
Why can't we just have one universal? Why does some have to be round? Why does some have to be X? Why does some have to
I
be
want
arc?
ones that's half cage, half ring. So you have ropes down this side and cage down this side.
You see, Rourke, we are here, you are here.
That's a
Think-
meeting of East and West. That's actually cool.
But think about it. Because everyone's like, oh, I get to fight in a ring. I don't have to worry about the cage. But now I have to worry about both.
But what are the Russian ones where there's no boundaries whatsoever? There's just one big, huge fucking mat.
That when there's like 6 guys fighting each
Yeah,
other.
like 6 on 6.
That is the future of MMA right there, I reckon.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, forget quintet grappling. There's 6 on 6. It's like a street brawl, bro. It's
How
fucking amazing.
have you ever asked a fighter then who's actually fought between different sided cages how technically it's changed their game? If you ever asked Don for example, where he's going from the hexagon to the octagon, if the different angles coming off the fence make any kind of difference?
I haven't asked anyone, but I've heard a lot of guys speak about it, and they say that there's a huge difference.
Imagine.
Like the element of like a cage versus a ring, for example, or like the hexagon versus the round cage is very different.
Yeah.
Because in the hexagon or the octagon, you can get stuck in corners. And that's why, like, a lot of the way you approach your angles, a lot of the way you like try and like the ring, the craftsmanship of the ring is completely different.
Yeah.
To try and push guys into corners, especially with the clinch and stuff like that, you're really going to put guys into that corner. They get stuck. They can't really get out of anywhere. And it takes. I've heard a lot of guys say it takes a lot of getting used to, especially to go from a ring with ropes where it's square, corner.
Yeah.
So you can only get stuck in certain places. Whereas like the octagon is a whole different kettle of fish.
I wonder if FFM or Rich Kwan's going to start changing the way their cage shape is, considering how many fighters they want to take out.
They don't even use a cage, dude.
Don't they?
They hardly use a cage.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
They
training
spar in open areas.
And there's the guys, they do a lot of wall wrestling.
Yeah,
so,
wall wrestling. Yeah.
Like, it's a big chunk of each, like, certain sessions.
This is the craziest thing, is that like wall wrestling or cage wrestling, as you get into a fight, has become such a huge part of MMA. People that aren't, and I think everyone is kind of doing it, but like everything, there's so many different levels to that. You know what I mean? There's so many different approaches, and some guys are just exceptionally good at it. And I think, like we mentioned, like Don in his last fight, everyone was like, it was such a grappling heavy affair, such a clinch heavy affair. But he got to show that side of
That's
him. You know
cagecraft,
what I mean?
man.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
cagecraft.
You know who actually did talk about
I think that's
the
Warren
big
did. I think he
difference?
wants to call. Are you getting in there?
Don actually was talking about the big difference between the height in the EFC cage and the height in the UFC cage.
Yeah.
So he said, like, when he stands there, the UFC cage, like, his head's almost above it. Like, it's right here. Whereas the EFC cage, when you stand in it, it's like up here, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, they're all up here. But
All the more respect for Tumusang Madiba for making it up there every time.
I heard a rumor that he used to get fined from Massa, and then EFC would just pay
Just
him back
repay
that
it,
money.
'cause it was show business.
Yeah.
And yet there was the time the Norman chef threw him off, didn't he?
Yeah.
And kicked him off. And I think Norman got fined for that or something, if I remember. I'm not sure that the EFC paid that back. But yeah, sure, that was back.
Good luck. Oh,
Here we go.
good luck calling. Good luck getting that money
It's
from
gonna,
chef.
It's only gonna be
No, the
me,
camera's
it's plugged in.
there. Yeah, so it might take a minute to figure it out.
live from
Hey,
Dubai Airport.
Yo, with a horrible
Please
line.
don't be loud.
No, it shouldn't be. Warren, can you hear us? Are you there, sir?
Nope. Hold on. Let's call him back.
UAE, terrible internet connection.
Yeah, actually, when I was there, though, I wasn't blown away by that internet speed.
So did you write a review of UFC for North Carolina, the ESPN Plus, the fight card?
Yes, with my own words, not a press release from the UFC.
Nice, man.
I'm joking.
I
It's
can't
a press
find Warren
release.
on your thing, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Fuck you. There I was, cunt.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. We are getting hold of Warren King, who's been
There we
living
go.
the dream in California. Warren, are you there, sir? Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Not great, eh?
Okay, let's try call him.
Who are you? Did he try
He's
call
calling
us
us.
again?
He's calling us. Let me try
Just call
him.
from there. Yeah, straight from there.
How do you know when it's calling? Now it's gone.
Go into. There we go. Click that. That should do it. Some actually, you know what, bro, to be honest, I think in the UAE, I don't think they allow video calls, dude, to be honest.
Why not?
There's some weird thing. I remember when I was there, I had to get a VPN so you could make video calls.
No way.
And I think that's what's happening.
It's like a telecoms restriction thing for the telecommunications industry.
Warren, are you there? Oh, that sound is so horrible, eh?
It's not nice. Connection lost.
Dude, I honestly think that's what's happening.
Airports, huh?
Wait, now
Is he
someone's
calling
phoning
again?
me.
It's nice of him to time his transfer, particularly for the day that when you shoot your show.
Yeah, what a
That's
legend.
So considerate of him when you're booking those flights.
If only we could get a hold of him. Yeah, dude. I don't think that's happening, eh?
First thing you said to Richard Kwan and Chris Cyborg, no, as long as my transfer happens
Yeah.
during a taping,
As long as I can make the podcast, I'm all good. Anyways, Mr. Simon Stevens, while we figure that one out, what's been happening, sir? Happy New Year, I guess. Compliments of the season and all of that
I
jazz.
can't wait for Christmas, mate, to be honest with you.
yeah.
I'm sick of
What's
2020
it?
already.
11 months to go. We're nearly there. Huh? Who would have thought?
Oh, mate, it's been shit so far, to be honest with you. I spent all day in an MRI machine and down the road at Linksfield Hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah, I need some crap done with my spine.
Oh, I thought maybe they wanted to see how full of shit you really are.
Fucking there's a lot there, man. So, yeah,
But you got spinal problems.
Yeah, I had a bad car accident about 30 years ago, and I got degenerative
Yes, remember
disc.
you said so.
Yeah, so I got this disc that's trapping a nerve, and it's causing problems in my spine. So
Ooh.
it looks like a bit of surgery at some point.
Like a spinal fusion surgery, or
Yeah, I may need to go in there and do some microsurgery and fix it may be a chip. I'll find out more on Friday from the neurosurgeon.
okay,
So yeah, we'll see.
pretty intense. So spinal surgery is never a walk in the park.
Not fun. Yeah, it seems to be like parts of the spinal column are popping out in my C7.
Like a bulging disc.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Compression. So
A nice little spinal fusion and decompression. Much of the beautiful stuff us jiu-jitsu people can look forward to when we get older.
not that it's a result of jiu-jitsu. I wish it was. It's a result of a stupid fucking drug driver who died, actually.
Really, eh?
Yeah, I was lucky to
Jeepers.
walk away, man. That was back in the day.
Yeah, that's crazy, eh?
And you? All good?
Yeah, all good, man. It's like it's that weird time of year for MMA fans because we're just waiting to go, and I think it's been quite cool that we've had oh god, here we go again. He's like the ex-girlfriend that just won't stop calling.
Maybe we should try
No, dude.
WhatsApp video.
Skype.
You got WhatsApp video on there?
Can we do WhatsApp video on WhatsApp chat? Not really, eh?
From the phone, yeah, we can make a little quick adjustment. I just don't know if I have the connection here. Unless you, boy, what phone do you have?
Huawei. I've got a
Can
headphone jack.
you plug that audio point into the phone? Just pull it out of the computer.
Okay, everyone,
Yeah,
brace your
brace
ears.
your ears. Brace your ears.
Nothing.
But yeah, but going in, it's still got this
Right.
chance. That's what she said. Going in makes the worst noise.
Okay. Oh,
Oh.
that's sore.
That's bad.
That hurts. Yeah, so it's kind of like that in limbo sort of period. But I enjoyed the way that we had to sit back and wait a little bit, like make you miss the sport a bit.
Were you talking about waiting for the EFC in March, or were you talking about
both.
lots of
You're
other?
right about the video thing. Eh?
Yeah, but the UAE they don't play around with that, eh? Like there's no gambling, there's no video calls, there's no like porn or anything like that. No online betting, gambling, casino sites.
No alcohol. No
But you're allowed to
Zool.
have alcohol, like at certain places. Which
No
is
gay
quite weird.
bars, Rourke.
Yeah, sorry, Rocky.
Okay, there we go. Hold on.
You're winning.
Hello?
Hey,
Oh, there we go.
There we go. What'd you do? A voice call?
Yeah.
Warren, what's happening?
Nope. It's gone.
This is very unsuccessful.
We did get to hear Warren for a second there, though.
Yeah,
Because
that was Warren's voice saying hello.
It was a clear hello, though.
Hello.
And the UAE were like, no,
That's all I'm monitoring the fucking thing.
you cannot.
I bet you there's a guy sitting in his office
A little
who's
button.
watching the podcast. Oh, no, wait, we're not live.
Yeah.
Never mind.
so-
If he was, he's just sitting
Oh,
If he's watching the
they know.
podcast, it's pretty spooky, boy.
No, they
That
know.
means he's hacked our shit.
No, they know.
Let's try one last time, bro, and then we'll call it a day.
Oh,
But,
there we go. Hold on. I'm getting a video call from him.
Hey.
And then he put down.
But there's like the one championship. You can do good events. There's Bellator.
Yeah,
there's like
there's-
plenty of UFC on Super
yeah.
Sport, like weekly almost these days.
There's always stuff going on. I took like a little trip down. Like I try to map out like the best fights I wanted to watch, like classic fights, but
Yeah.
like of a not classic to like the original first UFCs from like UFC kind of 60 there and there
Yeah,
about
okay.
like Chuck Ortiz, those sort of fights were the ones I was looking for. Just answer there, but see what happens. Oh, we won't be able to hear him because that thing's not plugged in. Warren, yeah, I know, dude. Let's
Scrap this idea.
let's scrap this idea.
Oh, shame, man. That's sucky. It'll be next week's episode, though, won't he?
Yeah. He'll be here next week. Sorry, Warren. UAE says no.
I'll keep the seat warm, bud.
Yeah, UAE says no. Yeah, so it was, and I like then they, obviously the opening card of the year, Cowboy Cerrone, which was quite cool. Cowboy, I always say Cowboy Cerrone.
He is really persistent.
No, he's gonna try everything. Maybe he's moving to a different Wi-Fi area.
There you go.
Plug that thing in, dude, into the back
Warren?
into the laptop.
Okay, hold on, wait. Don't go.
Don't go.
Brace your ears, everyone.
Oh, Warren, are you there?
Wallace?
Say okay. Press okay.
Warren? Hello?
No, dude, it's not. It's just not happening.
Going to training.
Awesome.
There we go.
Fantastic. Yeah, and it's also it's weird having that massive gap from December to March for the EFC.
Yeah.
And we have, what do we have? We've got one fighter now. It's
3.
Actually, you know what we should do since
three.
he's the veteran?
yeah.
voice-
Neil Duplessis.
Not to see against.
Geez, why am I forgetting?
Mr.
this?
Kicks.
Oh yeah,
Stefan.
Stefan Pretorius.
I get Stefan mixed up with Giovanni sometimes. No, Colin Hume. I saw on the website today. Colin Hume is taking on William Smith.
Oh yeah. They spoke about that last year actually.
Did they? Both need a win. I mean, fuck. I think Colin is.
I think Colin Hume puts him away
There we
with the
go.
first punch.
I think
Didn't-
Dylan is
didn't-
0-3 and Colin's like 0-1.
Didn't Simon want Smith? Simon Hall?
Everybody wants that easy W dog.
And Tevu against Lar. Yeah.
I won't lie. Smith has one of my favorite walkouts in the EFC.
So here when the
Techno
Viking.
Viking. Yo.
So here when they've got the yellow bar is like the new way of saying that it's a title
It's a
fight.
title fight, yeah. Which means what's the co-main event?
I'm gonna
say Lunga versus
Joe Cummins.
or
a feeling it's
or
been-
Iga Cabeza.
That's also a possibility.
So Iga's asking for Ronaldo Duxon or
Rudy
Rudy
Ruiz.
Ruiz. I think
Well,
it's a bit
it's
early
an
for
interesting
Rudy.
one because Rudy was obviously the touted prospect before he got knocked out by Pierre Buerta. Pierre Buerta statistically is probably the number one contender,
But please,
but
no one wants
nobody
to see
wants
that
to see
again.
that
Please,
again.
no.
Honestly,
Well, Pierre and Iga.
yeah, we've watched Iga Cabeza fight Buerta for the
Yeah,
last.
you know
10
what the
years.
problem is that they're twins. That
Yeah,
they're twins. So we've seen that fight 4 times.
I don't know about. You know what? Honestly, with you, that scramble was pretty impressive
Yeah.
between the two of them. If you could just extenuate that for a couple of minutes.
But I promise
be
you,
happy,
like
you know.
I promise you now, because of the extended history of wrestling between the two, like Iga and both Buerta brothers, and Iga, from what I understand, has dominated them 9 times out of 10 in wrestling.
Yep.
He's beaten the brakes off them both in MMA.
It's too good.
So like mentally for those dudes going to that fight, you've got to deal with all of those demons, knowing that this dude has literally been beating you for your entire combat sports career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
that's
it's just never ending.
debilitating,
You know what I'm
isn't it?
saying?
Yeah.
Like, and for sure, I don't know. Like Pierre Buerta to me, look, he's a great guy for the EFC, but I mean, like, we've seen and done that, dude. We've got to see new blood.
I'm keen on Ronaldo Duxon fight. With Iga.
How that dude is going to make featherweight, I have no idea.
No, it's a tough.
I'm not even sure if he's ever made that cut, because he came here on late notice. He fought a lightweight fighter. Who did he fight? Can you remember? He fought Tumisang Madiba,
Yeah, he did.
didn't he?
Yeah, it was short notice. Yeah.
And Tumi's
2 weeks.
Tumi's a bantamweight, realistically,
Yeah.
and they fought at 155. I'm pretty sure, eh?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they
But
fought
at
at
least-
155.
I actually- I
and that dude was huge.
I appreciate Iga though calling people out and starting to make some movement.
What I don't appreciate about Iga is that, like, he I don't know. So when I spoke to him, he was kind of saying that he was focused on wrestling for the Congo team.
That's right. It's
Trying to
got
go
Olympic
to, like,
type stuff. isn't it?
like world championships in wrestling and that kind of thing. But kind of like he had been radio silenced by the EFC, so he took that in the way whatever he took it, so he was just moving on. But now he's changed. I mean, this wasn't long ago. I spoke to him like maybe four
But didn't they
months
say
ago.
they bring out an international opponent for him if they couldn't find anyone for him?
Yeah, well, it
What-
should have happened already.
What
I
is
mean,
the deal with him just not going and fighting somewhere, like getting like 3 fights in a year at some international promotion? Because obviously there's no one really avoiding
I
him.
think they tried. To be honest with you,
I think Igor's a very tough person to deal with, to be honest. From the experiences I've had to try and like get an interview with him,
Really?
impossible. He's
No
just
way.
impossible. He's so unorganized. He doesn't reply. He stood me up 4 times, dude. Like, called me a sucker for 4 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a bit rough.
You know, but whatever. Like, and then he's got management who's supposed to be sorting him out, who has no idea what they're doing. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't know if he's still with that same manager, but that dude, like,
Dude, that's why
Clearly doesn't know what he's doing.
don't miss this gig, man.
yeah,
That's why I don't,
dealing with this.
That's why dealing with fighters.
Look at my
dude.
boy, old Jared Van Der Raaf.
Yeah, who you going to put? Okay, well, you want to talk about 2020 in the UFC,
20
didn't
fights
you?
I want to see.
Who at heavyweight is there for Jared Van Der Raaf? I mean, geez, you know, I'm not a heavyweight fan remotely. I prefer lower weight divisions.
I think he's got to be looking at.
Well, Vessel Mostet's not fighting lately, is he? He hasn't
no.
fought this past year at all. For me, in terms of a ranked opponent that's South African, it would be Vessel. I don't know what happened to
Where
Tank.
is Vessel? What happened to him?
Vessel Mostet, his business is so successful, he doesn't need to fight anymore.
It's not even that. Remember,
he's just so darn busy.
He popped for something. He served a
Yeah,
6
but
months
his
ban.
ban
It was
and-
very undercover, but it was something. It was Concerta. He popped for Concerta, which is like a concentration stuff. It's like for people with ADD and stuff like that.
But
so
that
he
dude
obviously
was-
had problems
Yeah,
at work and was
that's
kind of
right,
taking
it
Concerta, and then he just never came back.
That dude
I think
was
he was
good,
probably
though.
quite. Vessel Mostet.
Yeah.
He was good, but he lost his last fight. Who did he lose to? He was.
Andrew Fonseca, I think
Yeah,
it was.
was it-
I mean, come
that
on.
was no, but that was like a coming of age fight for him. You know what I mean? That was like the real test. It was like, okay, cool. You see, you're the real deal. You're running through all these people. If you get past Andrew, then we'll see. You know what I mean?
And then Jared Van Der Raaf went on to beat Andrew, but dude,
Yeah.
that seemed such a long ass time ago. I mean, that was in Pretoria, wasn't it? It was just like the end
Victoria 2018, yeah.
the end of 2018. Yeah, it was the last card. It was just a long ass time ago. Who else in the EFC
I
at
think
heavyweight?
old He-Man is would be that's the
Elvis?
fight they were talking about. No, dude,
He-Man.
you can't bring Austin. You can't.
Stuart.
Bring, yeah.
It'd be great to see him back, but that's been
Yeah.
a lot. And I just do wonder, before we even carry on this conversation, if the EFC can afford to bring such relatively big internationals out.
To be honest-
is there where's Stuart Austin been?
He,
know,
he's
I
been
mean-
fighting for Putin, bro,
Yeah, he fought in some crazy Russian card.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
and lost.
yeah, he did.
Well, what did you think was going to happen, Stuart?
It's
you,
like-
you don't go fight for Vladimir Putin and expect to win, dog.
but keep saying that you're going to bring out international opponents for this person, this person, this person. Just doesn't seem to be a solution all the time.
My thing is this, and I think it's the way the EFC have started to think. Well, I think that's the way Cairo is starting to think. Is forget about this European invasion. I think that's beyond us. I think we tried it. It sort of worked. We didn't really gain anything out of it. You know what I mean? As an MMA nation, what did we gain from Europeans coming here?
No, they use it as a stepping stone.
Exactly. All we
Yeah.
did was catapult them into Bellator, catapult them into
Joe Cadley,
Yeah, you know what I
Simon Biong most recently, for example.
Yeah.
I mean,
So we've catapulted them, and we haven't, like, if you think about it in terms of trading players, for example, what the EFC has gained a bit of marketing value out of these guys and got this broader horizon into the European market. What has it benefited them? I don't think it has. I think this, like, Simon Biong kind of route is the route they need to go. If he's based in Europe, fine, but he's an African, bring him here. Simon Biong is African. He's still speaking almost in an African tongue.
he's a
you know?
cosmopolitan dude, man. He speaks fluent
Exactly,
Italian,
exactly.
fluent French, but he's
Exactly.
Cameroonian. It's absolutely
Exactly. So
awesome
let's
dude.
focus. If I'm the EFC now, I'm going to look at the Bertemer Bartrons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those kind of guys that are doing reasonably well on the African scene and pull them in. You know, Brazil, I still consider maybe like not really a European, so let's bring Brazilians if you can. I think they bring a lot of exposure. They've got good fighters. They've got long history of MMA. That's what I want to see. I don't think this European American style fighters or paying the money to fly all of these oaks over here, paying for their teams, accommodation, paying extra purses because it's in dollars and pounds.
Pots.
Yeah.
What are you
Potsy.
pulling up pots for there?
I'm looking for UFC. So Tabani's on a 4-fight win
the
streak.
doctor, yeah,
Yeah.
but he's not. Isn't he a light heavy?
Mm-mm.
Well, he
Heavyweight.
should be a lot.
He should be a light heavy, man.
He walks at like 103 kilos.
That
Yeah.
guy's got some slick kickboxing when he turns it on.
No,
I
he
thought he
is.
was gonna.
I'd love to see him fight for a title group.
I thought he was gonna murder Simon Hall. There's a picture
Yeah.
with Simon on the ground and Tabani's leg up next to his ear, and I'm like, that must be.
I want a picture in this studio of yours of Simon the Boom Hart, because you guys spend an inordinate amount of time talking about the Boom on this show. But I appreciate it. I appreciate
We're
it, man.
giving the exposure to.
You need a portrait of Simon.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With
There's
a
one.
halo-
I've
with
got
a
one in
halo.
particular
We
in
should
mind.
smash out one with. Get Simon that side, and then Battis this side,
Let's
and
do it,
then
bro.
9 more in the middle.
Damn straight. Nothing but a couple
I
of
gotta say, that
gangsters.
Simon's awesome. Nice. He's a lovely guy.
He's a good dude.
He
He's a
really
Look,
is.
to be honest, and after his last fight,
He looked
we've-
a flip load better than the one before
Skills,
that.
skills,
Like I
skills.
think he's looking.
not physique wise. I mean, I'm in no position.
But
to be
he's an
talking
he's
here,
an
but I'm
older
gonna
dude.
say-
I mean, cut him some slack.
No, for sure. But I went up to him after that and I shook his hand and I was like,
Yeah, dude.
that was impressive.
Yeah,
you know
it
what I mean?
was.
That was impressive.
You know, and it's nice that these guys has got like this fire in his belly that he continues to want to fight
Yeah.
regardless of what
No, for
anyone tells him.
Yeah.
You know, you got to respect that
Yeah,
regardless.
for sure.
You know,
For sure.
but I don't know what.
As long as he shows up. If
I
he's-
think they need
if
to.
he keeps showing up, I'm happy.
He wants to drop to light heavyweight, so I think give him someone who's new on the scene.
well,
Let
like,
them fight.
yeah, how about Zakir Badat? that'll be
Great fight. Great fight.
There was someone we were talking to. Guy Lazarus was telling me the first time he had ever seen Elena Lunga was at like an old CFL event, and he had just come from the Congo, and he signed to fight one of Guy's teammates. Dude's first ever fight. He was so excited, like he's finally gonna get into this MMA thing to have like his first, or does a kickboxing fight, first ever kickboxing
would've
fight. So he signs to fight this Elena Lunga guy. Steps in there, Elaine just steps forward and breaks Sisog's ribs one time, drops to the floor. Last
What,
fight
body
ever.
kick or right?
Knee.
With
Just
a
like,
knee, really?
yeah.
I want to see Elaine Lunga, even if he has to fight himself this year.
That
Like,
might actually have to happen. Because
That's
no
that's
one
the
was
fight.
around.
But that's the fight with Joe Cummins. That's rumored to have been agreed.
yeah.
verbally.
Well,
I don't know if
Graham
it's-
did say that it was a done deal.
Really?
Yeah. Well, when was it? Or one of the post-fight press conferences or something like that, they said Joe Cummins versus Elaine Lunga. Or if Joe Cummins isn't coming, Elaine Lunga was going to fight the winner of Saxon and
So,
Anisette Kanyama.
Obviously, Elaine trains with Martin van Staden, who was the last guy to take on
Yeah.
and lost. But that takes me to the conversation is what is going on with MVS, man? Because you'd know better than I. Because,
So,
geez, man, every time I see Martin, he just gets better and better. And people talk about age, and it really fucks me off. I don't give it. Every time I see him fight, I just love seeing him fight.
I think the craziest thing about Martin is that he's like the age comes up, and it's not even about age. I don't think his age is any sort of impairment because I think he's looked after his body quite
Yeah,
well.
and he gets better every fight.
And I think if he had dropped, so we have to look at Martin's career pre-lightweight and post-lightweight. Because from the time he changed completely. When he made the decision to go to lightweight and adopted that lifestyle, his career started again.
Yeah.
So whatever happened before was kind of irrelative.
So you're saying let's go to featherweight.
No. I'm just saying, like, we've got to
He'll
look at
never
Martin's career from now, from the time he started at lightweight, from when he first made the cut, because he's a different person now. He's a completely different person.
Yeah.
Different fighter. He's a different person mentally, physically.
Without doubt.
From what I understand from Martin's side is that he's looking for international exposure, and people forget about Martin. Martin was one of those guys who was stuck around in the EFC for so long. Finally got the opportunity he was going to fight for Bellator. He was supposed to
No,
fight
it wasn't
Dana
Bellator. It was
Silva.
AFL. Not AFL. What was the
No.
biggest?
ACB.
ACB. It was ACB. He was supposed to fight Dana
Yeah.
Silva at ACB.
Was it ACB? But he was
Yeah.
supposed
Yeah,
to
he was
fight
going
in
to fight
Bellator.
Siva. That's correct.
He flew out to wherever it
And
was.
Siva pulled out like
Yeah.
a day before, 2 days before.
He was there already. Weight made everything.
And he was going to pure it.
But hang on,
Really
yeah, there was the one thing. Then he had a second fight that was supposed to be, I'm pretty sure, in Bellator, and then the title fight came about.
Is he
And
contracted to Bellator? Or are they still talking about it?
no. I believe he's still trying to get there, but he gave up that fight with Bellator to come and fight for the title in South Africa.
The Cummins fight.
No. He had the title when he fought. He lost the title to Joe Cummins. So who did Martin
It was
fight
Gavin
for the
Hughes.
Gavin
when he
Hughes.
knocked out
Yes,
Gavin Hughes with
yes,
that
yes, for the vacant.
absolutely insane knee.
Yeah. So he gave up an international fight to come and fight for the title, eh? People don't. I
I'm
don't
not
know
even
how people
surprised
know
he
that.
knocked people's out. Have you ever seen that guy's hands? It's
Yeah,
like
what do they call him?
bricks.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh man,
Hands
it's,
are
it's ridiculous. I like wrecking balls, man.
Look, I think Martin fighting overseas and getting those proper paydays is what he needs.
Yeah,
now,
without
you know
doubt,
what I
yeah, he
mean?
deserves
Like he's devoted his life to the sport, you know.
We've seen him in some absolutely ridiculous fights.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's an absolute beast.
Well, that's the lightweight division then. So Dion Brunning, I want to see him back this year.
If
because
he's
he's
coming back.
entertaining fight. He's what 1-4. He's 5-1, isn't he?
Yeah, he lost to Gavin Hughes on decision after he blew his knee out in the first round. You know what I mean? And like he was a jiu-jitsu guy
He was talented.
taking on like a good striker in Gavin Hughes and managed to survive with one leg. You know what I mean? Like Dion Brilling's a cool dude. I just don't know where he is. He's like a bit of a nomad. Because I don't think he's with PFA anymore. I know he's got his own little gym going. I think he works with Warren Ellison a lot when Warren Ellison was in camp. Yeah. Look, also, like, I mean, Regis Miyambo case, he's in the case.
Was it that long ago? Was that the Hughes fight in 2017?
It's crazy, yeah.
That's
Goes
sad,
quickly.
Dude, that's so wrong.
Simon Byong, nice. So, talk of the town.
Light heavyweight champion.
Yeah, talk of the town here is that this is the fight Drickus now wants.
He wants to go up.
He wants to go up. He wants that third title. So,
I mean, surely Drickus has to fight.
So he wants a third gold.
UFC, Bellator, one championship, something like that. Surely at this point, that guy's like
it's going there. It's going to get there. I think in Drickus's mind, winning another title can't deny him that UFC contract anymore. I think if he wins another title, it's like, well,
you can put me anywhere. A more versatile fighter, having fought in 3 different weight divisions as a champion in the UFC. But he's just coming back from Vegas now, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been out for the UFC, so his management team have got him out there.
Yeah.
So obviously discussions are being had.
So I think Drickus. The only reason Drickus is very smart. Drickus has a plan always. You know what I mean? He's very meticulous in how he goes about his work. He knows what he wants to do. He knows the steps he needs to take. He knows when he's ready. The UFC 100% is on his agenda.
Yeah.
I don't think we see Drickus back in KSW this year. I think he takes his fight and I think he kicks the door down. Because you know what's happening, from what I think what's happening is a lot of guys like borderline outlying areas, so South Africa, the African continent, and then all like the smaller sort of fighters making their way are going through the contender series.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of guys are also trying to avoid the contender series because it's risky. Think about it. You know what I mean? You got to go into contender series where it's like exhibition kind of fights where you're fighting to the death in essence to get that contract. You know what I mean? If you don't have to do that, this is the other way to do it. I mean, look, this is probably more risky because Simon Byong,
dude,
we haven't seen much of him, but the dude is spark. I mean,
he's only fought MMA for 2 years.
Never mind what he did here. I don't think Quentin Rousseau is the most talented fight in terms of international market. You know what I mean? He's a part-timer. The dude's got a fucking 9-to-5 job. He rocks up in his work casuals to weigh in. You know what I'm saying? But Simon Byong's all in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's just the honest
That
truth.
being said, he was in one of my favourite fights of last year. When he was against Shordine, I thought it was a highly entirtaining fight.
Fuck, it was
okay.
really,
So
really good.
we skipped over at heavyweight. Let's go each weight division. Who you want to see
I want to see
championship
Tabani Imandabela, the doctor, fight for a title in the heavyweight division, regardless of who it is. Dude. The problem is, if it's not Jared Van Der
So
Raal, who is
outsized,
it?
man.
You know what I mean?
He'll be so outsized there. You know, if he faces Jared Van Der Raal, if Van Der Raal returns, it's been such a long time, over a year and a bit, a year and 4 months since Jared won that title and hasn't defended it since.
But he's been active. That's the difference.
Yeah, for sure. No, he's been active in
He's
other
at
organisations.
LFA now.
But when
He
did,
got smoked in LFA.
he did. When did Tabani last fought? When did the doctor last
long time.
take a clinic?
Long time.
And that was against
2018.
He fought Simon Hall, wasn't it? His last fight.
Yeah,
No,
that
he
was-
fought
was
Simon.
no,
in
Nico Yamji
2017.
was also
Ivan Strader and then Nico Yamchi.
No, he's just not a heavyweight, man. He's a light heavyweight.
yeah.
Tabani,
100%.
without a shadow of a doubt.
But
I've
he's
seen
like
him.
6 foot something.
Yeah, he's huge.
Huge.
I just-
6'5".
I just
Yeah,
don't
he's
see
a
the
beast.
heavyweight division in the EFC being of interest to me at all. I'm sorry. I mean, I'll be interested to see what Potts does this year. I'll be interested to see if Kevin Kokomo comes back, for example. But apart from that, they're not anyone who can really take on Jared Van Der Raal as far as I'm concerned.
Ricky
Anyone in that
Mashola-
roster.
Ricky Masholas also hinted at dropping down to light heavyweight when he was here the last year. I don't know if he's making that cut, but I'd like to
Okay.
see Ricky in there. I think Ricky's he's an old dog.
Okay,
And he's a
so
beast. I love watching Ricky
L,
fight.
who do you want to see Jared fight?
I want to see Tabani Mndabela fight Ricky Masholas.
Simon, I know you don't like the heavyweight division, but if you could see one guy on this roster.
If I had to choose, but he won't do it as Vessel. Look at his record, 5-1. I mean, who else has got a similar record like that
Yeah.
at the moment on that kind of trajectory? I know it's still a relatively weak-looking division in terms of those records, but if I look across the heavyweight division, that's one fight that interests me. I don't think anyone's got the quality necessary to take on Jared at the moment.
So, gentlemen, here's the solution.
Yeah.
The Fighter Season 3
Heavyweights. All heavyweights. Fees keeps going on talking about all heavyweights. Yeah.
That's the best. I promise you, the heavyweights in the fighter series will draw massive
Yeah,
attention.
it would.
Because people love to watch heavyweights. They do. That's just.
But
what
South
it is.
African gyms don't have a tradition of training heavyweights. There's like so
No,
many.
but that's
like,
why you need the fighters, so we can bring a couple of international. This is my only gripe with the fighter series is the EFC spends all this money on producing the show and then never uses any of those contestants.
Yeah.
It's so strange to me.
Well, I think Alice Ardley might be coming back to take a fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one out of a few.
Possibly against Manon Fiorot, but she's already. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But
I don't see. You see Manon coming back to the EFC?
no,
I don't see her coming back.
That chick's going straight to the UFC.
They're gonna legalize.
It's done.
It's done already. It's officially done. UFC is gonna head there. She's gonna be signed.
I see
that's the way I
Aries
see it.
is in Belgium
Yeah, yeah.
next couple of weeks.
Because they were supposed to go to France, but I think the legislation timing was a bit wrong.
It's been signed. It's been signed. It's been
Yeah,
done and
it's a done
dusted.
deal.
Okay. Fight for
Simon. Too early for Zaki about that, but I just find him highly entertaining. It'd be great if Stuart comes
He
back.
just got his black belt, actually. Zakia.
Did he?
Zach just got his
And
black
awesome.
belt.
And you know,
Just under
to
Penny
be
Thomas.
honest with you, Zakia Badat is actually a middleweight. To be fair,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the beast, man. He really is absolute beast,
I
though.
wouldn't mind seeing him versus Stuart Austin at light heavy.
Gideon
That'd be a great
Drotsky,
fight.
if he's fit.
Yeah, Gideon Drotsky, Zakia Badat's a great fight.
Yeah.
Who was Gideon's last fight?
He won, didn't he? It was a cracker.
Junaid Ebanks.
Yeah, Junaid. That was a good
Oh,
fight.
yeah,
that.
jeez.
That was a cracker.
Yeah, there was a
bloody,
bit of
wasn't it?
controversy in that fight as well. Well,
Remind.
Junaid believed that he won like every fight that he loses. He feels he won. But there was a weird moment in that fight where there was maybe the doctor came in and like the cornerman came and wiped him down, which is illegal.
Yes,
Something like
that's-
weird
Yeah,
happened.
was Gideon bleeding
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
after he took that dive into the column?
Oh, that was
cage
against
with
Norman Vessels.
Norman.
Yeah, that was the turnbuckle.
It was the first time I've ever almost been sick with blood.
Were you there? That was a great fight.
He chucked him in. I think you know how the cable ties hold that thing.
Yeah, it
I
was a
think he hit
cable
a
tie,
cable
cut
tie,
himself.
and as he
Slice.
pulled him off, it literally squirted out his head. Like, I was like, oh, I'm
remember
sick.
that.
Did you get the shot though,
I'm
Rob?
gonna be,
Yeah,
I
to
wasn't
get-
working for UFC at that point.
Oh, really?
No,
Just a social thing.
no, I wasn't there. It was in Cape Town.
That was a cool fight.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But yeah, and everyone was like, yeah, Gideon just making excuses, but it was legit.
What about maybe Norman Vessels coming back? And fighting?
Norman Vessels is never coming back. I
That's
promise you, if you put it out on social media, you're gonna get 1,000 people saying they want to see Norman Vessels back in there. But
Not a single one of these guys
people
are
of the
gonna sign
MMA
for
world,
fighting.
Norman Vessels is never coming back to MMA.
No, I don't think it will.
The last
Either.
fight he had, he made someone who's currently 1-1 in the UFC look like a walk in the park.
I would have loved to see Norman in the UFC.
Yeah.
He just missed the boat, I think.
Yeah, you were talking to a chef fan. I've always have been. He's always been awesome to me, man. I remember interviewing him, like I said, at EFC 5 back in the fucking day, and he was a top bloke then. He was a top bloke to me when I went to FFM. So I wouldn't complain if Norman came back, but he doesn't need to.
No.
He really
Definitely
doesn't need to.
but I mean, how fun would that be?
He's a happy, chilled fucking dude, but he'd puree him.
Yeah, dude, I honestly don't think there's anyone in the EFC that can hang with Norman Vessels even now. I can't think of anybody.
Dude, that back
Yeah, I
attack,
can agree.
It's just
I can agree.
it's ridiculous. You look back on those seminal moments. It's funny you pulling up this roster and you look at some of those fights, but you're picking up Gideon Drotsky, who Norman fought, that we were talking about. But it was that fight against Dalcher and that back attack and sinking that rear naked. And just that extra, that hiss, that vibe with Quentin Chongslod and the FFM guys and Richie and Quentin having words and the shit going on at the weigh-ins the day before was fucking hectic.
Oh yeah, that was that one where they had
Champion
to,
had that oil lamp and Norman
Yeah.
smacked it out of hands on the stage, and it was just the vibe in Grand
that was the
West
one where they had to like
special.
shove people out of the way and said because the
Yeah.
DRC was going insane.
going nuts,
Someone
yeah.
they had to pull. Was it? I can't remember. I think you'll
I
know
was
this. So they
there.
had to pull Norman back into the weigh-ins because the guys had knives out.
There was
Grand West.
there was talk of knives being there, yeah, and there was
But
talk, they hired extra
those-
security.
Those dudes, if you remember that way, that walkway into Grand West was almost completely
Yeah.
packed out. You couldn't even walk through there. There was like a sea of Congolese dudes just going ballistic, bro. Ballistic,
That
And
vibe was so cool.
Norman just murdered him.
dude. You know what was my best was when
was great.
when Dulce was like going to FFM at like 4 in the morning. He's like, Chef, where are you? Chef, where are you? He's like, probably at home in bed, dog, to be honest.
You wanna
You know? And that's what, like, they were all saying. They're like, yo, why don't you come while we're here?
Yeah, exactly.
But it was, like, I know it was, but it was, from a marketing point of view, I think the EFC must have been, like,
great.
ecstatic. They're like, this is the best
Oh,
thing
even as a live spectator, it was absolutely awesome. But remember, Norman got landed on his head in that first round, something awful. And if you remember, he does a lot of weights, Norman, and he's got good traps and he's got a well-built neck. You know, he's like a very sturdy dude. And I think where he just when Dulcher dumped him on his neck like that, it was absolutely fucking horrific. But where he came back from that, I have no idea. Incredible.
Beast.
Back in the day, it's okay. So that's your light heavyweights.
I think you'd probably melt Simon Biong with just
Pressure.
His glare. Yeah.
I wouldn't fight. I wouldn't fight him just purely on that. That I have to look him in the eye. I'd be
Then
too cuck scared of it.
the roster would be like, cool guys, all of us are retired.
Yeah,
But
we're
you know,
retired.
but talking about Simon Biong, everyone craps all over Graham Carmel, you know, because he doesn't. A lot of times he gets it right. To pick someone like Simon Biong, he was 5-1 at the time, to pick him out of a foreign organisation somewhere in Italy and drag him out here, that is a talent find, man.
Yeah.
That is one heck of a talent find.
Dude, and not only that, to get the oak into Risen, go and fight in that card with some, to travel anywhere and fight a Russian is insane. Like, it's not easy. Ask Boyd Allen, he'll tell you.
Oh, when he went to ACB, well, the guy was
it's fucking hardcore. Dude.
juiced up to
Yeah,
fucking.
well, did you see the
nuts.
dude that Simon Biong fought? I
was
think
it?
Simon Biong's gonna pop for
20
steroids after wrestling with that oak.
24-12 is the guy he fought, eh?
Yeah, that Vitaly Shemetov.
Yeah.
Listen, dude, Vitaly Shemetov doesn't wake up in the morning with the protein shake, boy. Look at my boy. Look at him. Look at him.
There's needles all over the place.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those wrinkles are gonna pop. Like, they're bugging the ban. They're banned for substance abuse. You know what I mean? Like, a dude's no joke. Like, to travel and fight a Russian in a foreign organization is normally considered like suicide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. It's hard work.
I think
out
Boyd said when he touched his skin when they first grappled, they first clinched up, and he says when he touched his skin was like white hot. He said the guy was burning, his skin was burning. I was like, fuck, you know. And Boyd's jits, man, I remember, it was absolutely superb. I really thought he was going to cream this guy. And he just got like ground on for 3 fucking
No,
rounds.
but that's what they do. That's their style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're not like, you can't get exposure to that here. You know what I mean? It's very hard to get exposure to that kind of style here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Simon Biong is awesome.
And with all the
I mean,
testing here.
it's going to be super interesting to see where he goes.
Well-
Like, if he fights Drickus, how that pans out for him. If he doesn't fight Drickus, if he carries on, defends his title once or twice, what happens to him? He's the real deal, man. I remember I was messaging you guys. I was at the face-offs, and I was like, I messaged because they weren't there, and I was like, let me tell you guys, Simon Biong, this dude is an athlete. Like, he's a monster. He's huge. He's a beast. I like
Okay,
him
so
a
who
lot.
do you see him fight?
I think he fights Drickus, bro. I think that's the fight.
I think it was because Drickus wants to fight. If they don't give it to Drickus, then I'd love to see Stuart Austin come back.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
Stuart Austin versus Simon Biong is a great fight. Dude.
Or European
Great fight, yeah.
European light heavyweight champion regardless. And going down to middle, I mean, poor Torbjorn Madsen, one and done, hey, in the EFC.
No, he's been trying to get a fight.
Has he?
He's been begging for
I
a
think
fight.
to come back, man, because
We actually were touting him
were.
to fight Neil Duplessis. That was the fight we were saying he's the one to make.
And he was good, eh?
But also,
He
dude,
was good.
to fly a dude all the way out from Norway. I mean, when he was here in Cape Town, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But to bring a dude, I promise you, like, I think for Torbjorn, if he had to say to Graham, cool, I'll get a sponsor to pay for my flight to Cape Town or whatever, and then from there it's up to you.
Ibrahim Amane would still be a good fight. I'd love to see that.
I don't think he's ever. coming back.
Who did
Because
he
he's
fight
just
last?
he fought in Brave now.
did,
eh?
yeah, he
Ibrahim
did.
got sparked, dude. He got knocked out. That was when I was panicking for his life.
Was that the Durban card? Was it the one you went to?
Yeah, he got sparked, and it was a great fight before. It was probably was contender for fight of the night. To be honest, it was a great fight.
What do
And
you
he
do?
just got caught.
What do you do with Gareth?
McClellan,
Yeah, do you give him Brendan? Do you think that's a fair fight?
Brendan
I
Zahn.
mean, again,
I don't think so.
what would you do with Gareth?
I think the problem with fighting Brendan again is that you kill potentially two contenders, right?
I was wrong with that. I misquoted completely. Gareth and Drickus is the fight that I've wanted to see for many years, but I can't see that happening.
Yeah,
Not now.
I think that ship's kind of sailed. I think everyone was kind of expecting that fight to happen. I think everyone thought that he was going to beat Brendan Zahn. That's the fight we were going to see.
Why don't we see
I don't know what to do
Gareth
with Gareth
McClellan
now.
versus Dallas Jacoby?
Yeah, I was going
Oh,
to
a bit
say
cracker, yeah.
old dogs.
Why not? You'll sell out something.
Sun City. That'll be a good fight for Sun City.
It was great to have Darius back this last year. You know, he just came up with one fight. You know, really went put through the ringer and got the win. It
You
was
don't
great.
think you don't think he's gonna fight again?
I'm not sure. I'm
Well,
not
he
sure
was
if
at
wants to
AK
that much.
Thailand, and
Really?
yeah, maybe. I see Amanda Lino.
He made Mark Cumber quit. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, that fight. Remember, Mark Cumber took that on very late notice as well, eh? And that fight
Yeah,
was.
true.
I remember watching. I was like, "There's no way these guys can do this for 3 rounds. Like,
Yeah, it was
the
crazy,
pace is just
wasn't it?
way too high. One
was
of
a
them's
cool-
gonna quit."
It was a good
or
fight.
It was
even
a great fight.
You
Yeah.
saying Amanda?
So Amanda's now. So Rodney van der Vlucht has
Gone back to Holland.
gone back to Holland.
And Amanda's gone.
Amanda's gone there. I thought she was moving there permanently, but it sounds like she's basing her camp there
Okay.
for a little while and
Yeah.
then coming
ooh,
back.
there's some nice kickboxing gyms there.
Yeah. So it seems, and I saw her now, like today. This is the funniest time of the year. I love watching this shit. And this is honestly where I feel so sorry for Graham. Because all of a sudden he's like the most wanted man in MMA.
You saw her today?
No, on Instagram.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like, everyone wants Graham Cartmell now. They're like, at EFC Graham, ready for a fight. It's 2020, here we go. Like, everybody's just coming out of the woodworks, dude. It's so funny. And I mean, fuck, it's got to be cool as a matchmaker, but it's also got to be a bit tiring.
Well, here's
you
a
know what I
fight. What about you post that photo of Gordon posted that photo of being back in the PI. What about Gordon versus Dallas? They're both gonna come in there and swing for the
mean? At light
fences.
heavyweight.
Middleweight.
You know, Gordon missed middleweight in his last fight, boy, quite substantially.
He's pissed-
Okay, well, I mean, they're not. No one's gonna. They're both small middleweights to begin with. They're not gonna complain
Yeah.
to have to fight each other at light heavy.
I wouldn't complain about that. It'd be quite cracking
They
fight.
just sit.
Oh!
Is that Clay Guida?
That's Clay Guida.
I've never been hit by Clay Guida before, but that was the first.
And GSP.
Oh, sorry about that. Apologies.
No, that's all good. Maybe we should just make them live on the table.
okay.
That's the original gangsters corner that you just.
Well, my favorite was the headphones did a 50-50 grind on the mic stand.
Dude, you literally do need a carpenter.
I do. Let me just put Clay here in front for now.
That was a good line.
We can go.
Apologies.
we can get all aerial hell.
Okay, so obviously Drickus, we're hoping to see fights.
Okay, Drickus Simon Biong. I think that's the fight. Middleweight, Dallas Jacoby.
Kulakani Klongwe is looking to come back. I think we give him his brother.
Yeah. Again.
Yep.
Because they fought before. They were actually sharing a room the night they fought each other. So how'd you do that? How'd you beat the crap out of your brother and then he's sleeping in the next bed to you in the same
Who
room?
won-
at the
who
same
won
night?
that fight?
Bizarre. I think Kulakani won it against
Jeez.
Mzwandile. Yeah, I think pretty sure Kulakani won.
Wow. Okay, well then, so
Mzwandile got physically upset when Cyrus asked him that if he'll fight his brother again.
Yeah, he doesn't like talking about it.
He was not impressed.
okay, so Neil Duplessis versus
Yo, this is one dude I'd love to see back in this JP Kruger, man.
Wow.
He was against
he's actually fighting Gareth in a grappling match next month.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That would be a great
That's a good
grappling
fight.
match, in fact.
Well, let's.
Oh,
Okay, that's not good.
don't stress, it happens.
JP's supposed to be coming back this year, if I remember.
JP Kruger.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Oh, please.
He's been struggling with injuries and
Jeez.
stuff, eh? But
Yeah,
he's
but
also like
jeez.
just fell in love with jiu-jitsu and like didn't really care for
Yeah.
MMA. I think.
Now imagine he comes back with the kickboxing he's got and the jiu-jitsu he's got. I've seen
I
him
dig
light
JP
up some of
Kruger,
the
man.
top grapplers in South Africa. Like I
He's a
think he's
beast,
got a
dude.
good I think he's got a good chance at beating Gareth in this grappling match.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. I mean, geez, he's like been grinding with Chris Bright now for a couple of years. He takes that little plane, doesn't he, with the SA Express over to Port Elizabeth. I mean, he's just, it'd be great to see him back again to see how he's improved. Great open show, I miss. I quite,
Okay, here's a
A
matchup:
couple of times I've been enjoying him fight last few times.
Gareth McClellan versus JP Kruger. 2 in the EFC. Winner gets Drickus.
Yeah, I could do with that.
Mm. Yeah. I don't think Drickus will still be around at that time, to be
You could always
honest.
give JP to Brendan Lazard. That would be a fun fight.
Oof. JP Kruger, Ben Lazar.
Yeah, why not?
Hang on, guys. Hang on. We've bypassed the biggest fight of the year. James Dalton fits into this equation.
So he does, yes.
Oh.
So this is the question on everybody's mind now. So first off, I want to address a couple of things about the bullet. So everyone is there's obviously like I think one of the biggest guys who hit at me was Ben Kaprinski, like trying to tell me that this is bullshit and whatever. And I was like,
Why?
2 things here. Firstly, you've been here for a day. Now you're telling us what we should be doing. Secondly, this is the entertainment business. if you think James Dalton is bad for business, you don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people be like, oh, there's youngsters out there that deserve contracts, and I'm like, we're not disputing that fact. We're not disputing that fact at all. But those youngsters didn't win the World Cup in '95. You know what I'm saying? That's the honest truth. Bro, CM Punk, let's start there. Brock Lesnar, Greg Hardy, those are UFC examples. There's more actually in the UFC that I can't. Eric Anders, dude. There's a long list of guys. You know what I mean? Bellator has basically built the entire European business of celebrities, in essence, fighting. Aaron Chambers, who was in Geordie Shore. You know what I mean? They feed that dude tomato cans for every fight, and he keeps winning. You know what I mean? But it's good for business. KSW is the third or fourth biggest promotion in the world.
Urkojun,
Exactly.
bodybuilder.
They've got fucking Instagram models.
There's a rapper with the tattooed eyeballs.
Exactly. Popek Monster.
Popek Monster.
They've got Instagram models fighting Popek Monster.
Because they know they have to get eyeballs.
To sell out crowds.
That's it.
They're selling the biggest fucking stadiums in Europe.
So you're saying that in South Africa, people still see mixed martial arts as a sport of honor and dignity and a code that should be...
But the same
that's
guys...
not about entertainment.
The same guys are sitting cage side drinking fucking brandy till their eyeballs fall out, swearing at... Grab him by the nuts, kick him in the fucking balls.
Niem.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are the same people.
Yeah.
I'm like, hang on, listen, guys, we're on two sides of the same fence here. My thing is, I'm all in on James Dalton getting a bite. People say, oh, he has to earn his way. I'm like, dude, he doesn't have to earn his way.
No,
That's
he
how
doesn't.
the
Dalton.
business works. He's
He'll go
fucking James
straight
Dalton.
He'll go straight onto the main card, man.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's
100% straight onto the main
But you
card.
don't come from this broadcasting point of view where you understand the actual... the pressure to find sponsors, the pressure where you have the state broadcaster having issues with their rate card where advertisers don't want to buy in the middle of breaks of a sport that's still completely misunderstood. Where why don't you go the opposite way and say it's not about fucking honor, it's not about who's got the best record or who deserve the rankings at the top. It's about getting people to watch the fucking show.
Exactly.
That's all it's about.
And there's if you look at it like this, there's two types of ways to attract eyeballs to a show. And that's a big fight that everybody wants to see. And that's an entertaining fight that people are interested to see what's going to happen.
So who do we see him fight?
Dude, I said straight away it was Dallas Jacoby. That was the fight for me.
I think Dallas or Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon's a great fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
Because listen, you don't want to, because someone was saying to me, maybe Brendan Lazar. And I'm like, dude,
too high.
Brendan Lazar, his cardio is too much. His strength is going to be a little bit too much to deal with. You want a fight that's almost going to be seen as winnable for James Dalton. You don't want him to get in there and get fucking murked, because then you're going to say, I told you so. You shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? And that's the reality of the situation. You want to give him a fight that's going to be entertaining, someone who's going to stand and go at it. You know what I mean? Someone who's not really going to back down. Dallas Jacoby, Gordon Redmond are probably the two best candidates for that fight.
Yeah.
You know what the funniest part is for me? All of those naysayers are going to be fucking watching that shit. You cannot tell me.
No, for sure.
You cannot tell me
No, for sure.
that you're not going to watch James Dalton fight in a cage, dude. There's nobody that's not going to watch that. And you know what it's going to do? People are going to say, oh, but you know, the EFC is professional. It's a professional outlet. And there's youngsters, amateurs that deserve titles. And I'm like, listen, you want the sport to grow? The sport needs money. The sport needs viewers. The sport needs excitement. You name me a better way to get excitement besides having Drickus on your card. You know what I mean? Drickus can't fight every card. You have to do this. And I'm not saying we have to now get every fucking rugby player under the sun.
I'll get back his Borto if I had to get.
Yeah, damn straight. Get Bucky's birthday in there. Damn straight. Even Etzebeth, bro.
Well, how about
be a good crack.
it's a light heavyweight fight? Then put him against a returning Chad Hanekom, because Chad used to play for the Lions.
Exactly. Chad
So
was
you still got the
dead
rugby
keen,
thing going on. Did you speak to him about this one? Then?
Yeah, he
Oh, did you?
he put out a thing. He was like, it was quite funny. He was like, the only thing that can stop a bullet is Superman.
So true. That'd be fucking awesome. And Chad always used to make that rugby analogy.
I also do think Chad's a little bit too much for bullet to handle, to be honest. Like, it's
Now we're talking someone who's
physically,
like on the radar of the top promotions in the world. I mean, like,
physically just.
if
too
you had to
much.
make another
Enjoy.
rugby analogy with Chad Hanekom, it'd be Pierce Spears. Because when you watch him fight,
Yeah.
there's no way a bloke of that size should be able to cross the hexagon in that kind of speed.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of Pierce Spears when he was like going down the wing or whatever. It was just like, you're so fucking huge. How can you go that fast? You know?
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I think it's exciting, and you know what? And like on Twitter, there was like this whole back and forth between me and some people, And like eventually I just stopped and I was like, I just want you guys to realize something. Whether you're agreeing or disagreeing,
It's a good
we've
thing.
been talking about it for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
working already. And
Yeah,
he hasn't
that's
even
true.
fucking, we don't even know if he's really going to fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm like, that's the poison case, the case in point
Do you
right there.
engage the trolls then now? Do you?
I engage everybody, dude. That's my thing. I try and engage.
That's all right.
There's every now and then there's like questions that come up that I just ignore because I just can't answer it anymore. Like the what time, what channel. I'll do my best to respond to that 151 times. I'm done. I'll do the 150. The 151st, I'm like, I'm out of here, guys. I can't keep answering this question.
Yeah, I find
You
it
know what I
slippery
mean?
slope. I really do.
But I try and engage.
That's good for you,
That's
man.
always been my thing. I'll always try and engage. But when I'm getting messages from people on how do I get into MMA, I'm just like, dude.
I see those. I see. You do. You're so patient.
And I try and I'm like, you need to
Right.
train for a very long time. Then where do I go? I'm like, dude, just find yourself a gym, start there.
Just send them the Fight Stars number.
I often tag Guy Lazarus. I'm like, speak to this guy. He owns the EFC. He'll get you.
You bastard.
I often do that. I'm like, speak to this guy. But you know why they started? Because people started doing that to me. Like some of the fighters would, like as a luck, they would get these messages and they're like, no, speak to this guy. He owns the EFC. He's like, message me. They're like, so I want to join your organization. I'm like, dude, I don't
work for the
I'm,
UFC.
I'm just fucking media, dude. Don't talk to me. It's quite a fun game.
Yeah,
actually.
Dalton Fight. When is it then? Because
Dalton.
Yeah.
So I would imagine
He's got to do a bit. Has he put any work in yet? Has he been training on the ground?
So,
Has he
so,
been
so
what?
this is the thing.
He's a purple
he's
belt.
a purple belt
Is it?
under Rico Hatting.
Okay, there you go. Wow.
You know what I
Reps.
mean?
Is he still there?
He's a
Okay.
purple belt under Rico Hatting. So that's already. He's probably
That's so cool.
he's a higher jiu-jitsu belt than a lot of people on
He
that
was
roster.
in the news for the wrong reasons, wasn't he? And I can't remember what the story was.
Well,
I
for
thought it
fighting,
was.
so it seems a perfect fit. You know what I mean? You can go YouTube probably about 5 videos of James Dalton assaulting bodyguards or bouncers and stuff right now. You know what I mean? Seems a perfect fit for me, dude. He's definitely got the experience. So it looks like they're quite serious. It looks like he really wants to do it. So I'm fucking all in. I want to see that shit.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I want to see that shit.
No problem with that. All right, so that's what we were going to like heavyweight. So middleweight, we're done with Jukos.
Oh yeah, before we move on to welterweight, is that recording?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How'd you know?
I had a heart attack there for a second.
I went
Okay.
and did it when I stood up. Ooh.
So Temba against Lyle Karam is obviously the biggest for
This is
welterweight.
Can we
scrap.
all agree that this is the division of the EFC?
At the moment, yeah.
In terms of the
It's
depth of it, I mean Justin Smith. We got-
Contenders, you got. This is the sad thing. I think the EFC had a lot of, and Graham in particular, the way he structured the year. I think he had a lot of bad luck last year. That welterweight Grand Prix,
Yeah.
fucking brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Brilliant idea. But if you had not done it then and done it now, have a far better outcome. So you got, okay, let's say Tim Grimmer, Lyle Karam, so you got Justin Smith, Papanga Tresor, Sean DeLange, Luke Michael,
Is Dino retired now?
Dino Bagatine. Yeah,
Dino was in this division.
Yeah, I think he's done. I don't know.
Yeah, he's just moved to Durban.
Has he moved back to Derbs?
Yeah.
Well, back, but from the Vale. How can he do that?
Yeah.
Oh, he's taken it with him. It's there now in Durban North. It's being renamed as we speak.
Urban Vale.
And that's our favourite. Conrad Siabi is also in this division.
Yeah,
I can't
Conrad
remember.
Siabi. Who else would make up in a Grand Prix there?
Okay, so what is it?
So I would have gone
8
I said-
fights.
So
eh,
I've
to
said
start.
I've said Justin Smith, Pupanga
Pupanga.
Tresor, Luke Michael, Conrad Siabi,
Conrad Siabi.
Sean DeLange.
Sean DeLange,
Well, Sean.
and then probably throw
Jose De Rocha
Rocha in there.
is once in here.
Yeah, Jose de Rocha wants to come back. So I think that Sean DeLange is a fight that's being set up as well, if I recall.
I think you do like
It's
Conrad versus Pupanga.
Sean DeLange,
Sean
Luke
versus
Michael,
Luke.
Sean DeLange versus Luke Michael in Cape Town would be a good
I
fight.
think it's Conrad Siabi and Sean DeLange is a fight
that's
they're
a great
looking at.
fight.
That's
Because
the
that fight didn't happen
That's the
before.
fight they're looking at.
And then what? Pupanga versus Luke.
Yeah. Former teammates, mate. Oof.
I know how that one
Very
ends.
similar records as well. How does it end? Go on. I love that.
Let me tell you, I know how that one ends.
You're the Stephen A. Smith of South African MMA with your hot takes.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare call me Stephen A. Smith. Don't you dare.
Look, he gets eyeballs.
Fuck
You're
it,
just
though.
talking about James Dalton.
Yeah, but
I
he's
mean,
embarrassing himself now.
Come on, you know.
He's embarrassing
it's
himself
like
now.
how many that conversation is still going nuts, eh?
It makes me laugh. But like,
To get Conor McGregor to say, "Hey, you must apologise," and Stephen A. Smith's at home like, "Yep."
Yeah.
I got notorious to fucking react on social to me.
Yeah, that's
Fucking love it.
definitely. Yeah.
So what? How does that fight end then? You got Pupanga.
That doesn't end well for Luke Michael, in my opinion, to be honest. Especially because they know, like, Pupanga knows his game. I don't think Luke Michael accepts that fight.
Fireball jiu-jitsu is a real thing.
Yeah. the thing with Pupanga is that people see his record, the people that he's lost to, and they're like, this, that. Let me tell you, that dude is a scary individual. Like, if he's serious and he gets the fights, if he gets 3 fights this year, he'll be champion in the welterweight division.
Yeah.
I promise you
Pupanga.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he
Just
turns it
needs
on and he gets active, dude, I promise you, that oak is one of the greatest talents in the country. He's like one of the greatest unknown talents in the country. He is ridiculously
So
good.
why has he fought so infrequently?
I don't really know. I know there was problems between him and the EFC for a while. Like they were clashing heads over purses, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. And to be honest, he's a boogeyman of that division. I don't think anybody wants to fight him, especially people that have trained and know what he's about. They definitely don't want a piece of that. Look, and that being said, I'm not talking about Temba, because I think Temba raised quite a good point. Temba's obviously trying to reach goals, and he needs names and records that make sense for him in terms of being attractive to the UFC.
Yeah.
So in his mind, Pupanga's record means nothing to him. So if I'm pretending to be Temba Gorimbo now, I'm saying, okay, look, I know what Pupanga brings. I know how dangerous he is, but it means nothing to me if I win here. If I beat Lyle Karam, who's training out of what's his gym called in Australia?
Absolute MMA.
Absolute MMA with his coach is like
Lachlan Giles.
Lachlan Giles. He's 6-0 as a professional. If I can beat that guy, that looks a lot more attractive in terms of my CV for overseas. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that Temba's ducking him. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Temba's making decisions based on his career, which is fine. He would have taken the fight with Luke Michael because he knew what Luke Michael was about. He completely outclassed him, got the title, and now he's, in his mind, called out the most dangerous opponent left in that division that has the best record. Look, Lyle Karam's a beast, dude. I think we've forgotten how good he is.
No,
Although-
he's really good. He was pissed off his
yeah.
last performance. He
Yeah,
said, he's so subpar. He actually apologised for performance, even though he took the win. And he says, I'm so sorry, I was just not a good fight for me.
Yeah, I
even though
think-
he took the W.
He had, it kind of like went both ways. Like, he had a bad performance, and Steven Pretorius like stepped it up a notch for that
Steven
fight as
Pretorius,
well.
dude,
He
he's a
impressed.
beast, dude. He's an absolute beast. He won me over as a fan that night, big time. And I still said to him, I'm like, dude, listen, I know you lost, but I think it's one of those losses where you probably gained more out of it than win even.
So Pretorius' fight with Neil Duplessis has been signed and agreed for March the 14th.
It's a great fight.
It is a great fight.
It's a cracking fight.
Because even though we call him Mr. Kick, he's just got a really nice ground game and stuff.
His jiu-jitsu is ridiculous.
Yeah, but this, I think, there's still a lot to see from this guy as well. He came back from that like retirement, rejuvenated.
Temba, I mean, he's really gunning for overseas this year. Like you said, he uses the Lyle Karam as a springboard, but he was on short notice for Busan for the UFC card. For the Korean Zombie, he wanted to fly out there, and his sponsors were trying to get in there, and he was like saying he's a short notice replacement if you can go there, but it never made it happen. So he's very keen to move.
Like I get that, and I get what he was trying to do. You know, that's how a lot of opportunities come in the UFC. But like, dude, the chances of something like that coming off as an unknown, you know, the reality with Temba is, if you're the UFC, okay, what has he really done? You know, you've got to defend that title firstly. Maybe even once or twice he's got to defend that title before he can really start to bark
Well,
up
the
that
UFC
tree.
do like to build narratives around
for
people,
sure,
and
for sure.
he's got a cracking narrative.
No,
But
he
then,
does, 100%.
Having said that, there was Arnold Allen fought on the undercard this past weekend on the ESPN Plus card in Raleigh.
I think that dude,
He's 7-0. He's 7-0, and the UFC are sleeping on this kid's story. I mean, he trains in Suffolk. Have you ever been to Suffolk? It's like the boondocks of the UK. I mean, most beautiful county in the UK. It's like east of Cambridgeshire, south of Norfolk, but it is the middle of fucking nowhere. And you're going 7-0. You're still training in Suffolk. Who are you training with? Who are your fight partners? Out in the middle of the woods. And he's gone 7-0 in the UFC, still training out of Suffolk. It's just, and it's one of those stories that perhaps the FFM fight crew will look at and think, yeah, you can still come from a relatively small camp, from somewhere that most Americans or people in the Western Hemisphere never heard of, and you can still go through a tear through the UFC in any given division. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about the sport. How long it can carry on, I don't know. But he fought Nick Lentz this weekend. He beat Nick Lentz by UD.
He's legit. And I watched him a while ago. He's very, very,
You like
very
his
slick.
ground game,
Yeah,
it's
very,
nice.
very slick. Very, very slick.
And he's a cracking
What a
character
photo.
as well,
Who
man.
took that photo, Rook?
I think that's Anton, eh?
Yeah, it's a good one. It must be Anton.
Shots fired.
So what do you do at lightweight? So you got Joe Cummins and Elena Lunga. Then I do hope that fight happens. How does it go?
Elena.
Joe Cummins versus Elaine Lunga is an insane fight.
It is. Eh?
Where I think Elaine has an advantage is that they've probably been dealing with what he did to Martin ever since then. They've been preparing for that. And they've got first-hand experience from Martin, as well as a mastermind like Richie would have analyzed that fight and said, okay, this is where Martin made mistakes. And with the cage wrestling. And the craziest thing about that fight, Simon, is that Joe Cummins used a lot of very similar techniques that you would expect to see under Coach Kwan, which was quite funny. A lot of the wrestling techniques he was using, like
Side control and wrist control.
Very much like a Khabib style of wrestling. Martin would have been drilling those things for months and months, but for whatever reason on the night, Joe was just that much better. I think it was the approach they weren't expecting. I think the grappling they expected and a lot of the like kickboxing they expected, but that sort of wrestling based approach, I don't think they expected that at all, to be honest.
Who fought Martin first, Joe Cummins or Dave Mazzani? Because they were both similar routes to victory, weren't they, in terms of the grappling?
Dave Mazzani beat him,
up against the fence, and perhaps
Dave Mazzani beat
Joseph.
too.
Martin by grappling up against the hex fence and using that bit of stifling top control inside most of the time.
Remember, it was that dodgy. Well, it was like, to me, it was a dodgy decision. I still think Martin won that fight.
Yeah, Martin was more the busier fighter, but in terms of other ways of looking at the scoring, you could say that Dave.
It was like wrestling heavy. It was very wrestling heavy.
I remember that fight.
Yeah.
I remember we
It was controversial. It was close.
I remember everyone was like, "Oh, we're gonna get to watch these guys stand and go," and then they didn't
happen, did it? But Joe kind of took that and fought Martin in a very similar way.
Yeah, look, and I think that's like a respect thing towards Martin van Staden. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to get into that firefight with him.
You got Martin van Staden's record on there. You start scrolling down, mate, and you're going to be there all fucking night with that record. Look at that.
And he says there's like a whole pile of them not listed as well.
Adam Speechley. Look at that. Adam Speechley. Lyle Karam, in fact, who's fighting in March the 14th, said that his first fight his dad ever took him to was Adam Speechley against Darren Daniel. He was 13 at that time, and now he's fighting Temba Garimbo.
Adam's fighting.
Oh, he's also fighting a
Chris
grappling
Bright.
game, isn't he? Yeah,
Grappling match, yeah. That's cool.
That's cool. This is Patrick's promotion, is it?
Well, I'm
I
hoping
don't
it's
think
more
it is
Demart's.
Patrick. I think it's more Demart.
Is it Demar and Patrick working together? I'm not sure.
I think it's like
Well, Patrick's definitely involved there, dude.
Yeah,
Because a lot of the
it's
stuff is what's
real
his thing
talk.
called? Tail of the tape and
Truth Talk or something.
whatever it is.
It'll be good.
It's
man.
cool. It's cool. It's nice to have.
Bit of
I
variety.
think Demart is going to become quite pivotal in the growth of the sport going forward.
Well, so hold on a minute. Let's. I know I'm jumping your weight divisions, Rourke. I do apologise, mate. But we're talking about Cole Henning coming back, possibly in March, because his suspension,
ban
his
is up.
ridiculous 4-year fucking suspension for this
You
little
know
kid.
that. You know that we've got it some of the worst in the world, eh?
What?
4 years, yeah.
Drug-free sports.
Yeah.
Like the auto. So if you pop with drug-free sports, right?
Yeah.
You get 4 years straight away. The only way you can get less than that is if you appeal your sentence.
Yeah.
The problem is then you have to. It's money.
You have to
then
pay
you
for a B test.
So how it works is like a mitigation. So if you pop, it's slightly different now. If you pop, you go to arbitration point, they give you 4 years.
Yeah.
You have to start mitigating to bring that down. You understand what I'm saying? So from when I spoke to Mr. Khalan from SAIDS back in the day, he explained to me the Cole Henning case. It was very sad even for him as the president.
Kid didn't know what he was doing,
of
man.
SAIDS.
He couldn't even
And
read
he was
properly.
saying they actually tried to help him. Like they went, like
Yeah, they coached him a little bit. And
they went like beyond what they should have done. What they did was probably actually quite illegal, but they tried to help him. the problem with Cole is that he had no defense. He had no answer. He had nothing. He couldn't give him anything. He couldn't say,
He showed me the pre-workout because
Yeah.
it was still being sold at the gym he was training at in
Yeah.
Pretoria. I don't think it was BIA inside another gym, and he showed me the pre-workout mix, and it's in big fucking red letters on the top, not for use by in-competition athletes. I mean, big red letters, and I was like, and you're still selling it in the gym, you know. Shame, bless. But anyway, he's coming back after suspension, which is exciting. But that means then DeMar Pennant's suspension is up this year.
we worked this out a little while ago.
Is it?
Yeah, it should end midway this year, May, I think.
We want
Yeah,
to.
that's about right.
But one of the only times I've ever seen Rudy in serious trouble, like Rudy Roots in deep water, was when Cole Henning put him to sleep with a right hand, like dorsing on the mat. The only thing that saved Rudy was the fact that he's got like that, that like zombie wrestling.
Yeah.
He went like almost stiff as a board, hit the mat, woke up, and immediately shot for a takedown. And then
When was that?
spent the
Amateurs?
rest- Yeah, at Fight Stars. It was, I think, Rudy's last fight before he went pro. It was the most stupid cat. One
It's
of the
fine,
most
let it
horrific knockouts I've ever seen. Well, it wasn't technically a knockout because he came back and won. But Cole Henning's got some serious power.
Yeah, he does.
Who was the other Henning? Let it be. Oh, there we go. Chart Henning. He was
Chart.
supposed to be so good, and then he just disappeared.
He was awesome, man.
New Zealand.
Yeah, it moved over to New
He was
Zealand.
awesome. I thought he came back actually, but okay, it's difficult to keep track of.
Yeah,
Do
he-
you think
had
Demart?
some-
Do you think Demart will come back to the UFC?
does he need to? I mean,
We
still-
want
It
him
kind
to.
he was kind of saying online that he will be back. He was kind of hinting that he's going to, but he didn't say he's going to be back in the UFC.
I mean,
Which
look
is
at
interesting.
so the bantamweight champion at the moment is Faïz Jacobs. And just Demar is just going to be a handful
too
for
much.
everyone. I mean, just the
Way
amount
too
of
much.
grinding he's been doing at UMF during this suspension period. I mean, he's just looking in just absolutely better shape than he's ever looked. I just fear. Faïz Jacobs against Demar Pennant's going to crack in the fight.
Yeah, that would be
I'll
great.
just say that.
Just go back up to featherweight before we move down there, bro.
I think did we just go straight through lightweight? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mostly.
We talked
yeah.
about Joe. I mean, like I
Elaine,
said,
Elaine Ilunga, Joe Cummins, bro.
but I would like to see Dion Brunning back if he's fucking.
Yeah.
I thought he was injury took him away.
Ooh, Chilamba Makishi.
Oh yeah, he's back. Eh?
There's a dude with some potential, bro.
Yeah, so.
What is it? The old monkey.
Yes, that's right. It's very difficult for us to say that on a South African broadcast. It really is. I was like, he calls himself that. That's not my personal opinion of him. It's a tough one. So I never use his name.
Yeah, it's like,
No.
please, for sure.
It's almost like
Have you heard the
who's
story about?
It's almost like Mr.
Wade Gospey.
No, what?
So we had Wade Gospey on the show. We called him in, and Rourke's pulling up his record.
Yeah.
And it was on Tapology.
Yeah.
His nickname comes up as Hell Monkey.
someone hacked his.
Oh,
So we asked him about it. We were like, where does Hell Monkey come from? He's like, dude, I have no idea. And he's like, please don't use it. And like, every time we mention his name now, we're like, shout out to Hell Monkey.
It's El Torito. Yeah.
Yeah.
Means the little bull.
If you fight again, please call him
There
Hell
it is.
Monkey.
Well, Hell
begging
Monkey.
you, please call it.
Yeah, just say that's what it says on Tapology, dude.
Topology got hacked. Poor Wade, man.
That's so
And
awesome.
then I remember at Sun City, speaking to him about El Torito and how it means little bull, and it was a hell of a call.
I've never heard that nickname before.
El Torito.
I just know him as
Little,
Monkey.
little bull. So that's your life. So featherweight, it's it's either facing.
I want to
Ronaldo.
see Iga versus Ronaldo. That's a fight I really
Yeah.
want to see.
Yeah,
What are you talking about? August Kiambala,
I want to see Tommy Stratton versus anybody.
the All South African.
I love that guy.
What a beast, dude. That guy makes me feel like a woman. I'm like, I want to be more man like Tommy Stratham.
What I love is that he's not that tall, but he drives the biggest car ever, and you see him like climb up the
Yeah.
side and into the car.
He just comes away in his bush gear. You know, it's just looking like
He walks out in his
a
bush gear.
farmer.
It's
He's
awesome.
Yeah,
He's
it's the
very-
best shit ever.
He's a very cool dude as well. Yeah, so you got what to do with Pierre Botta as well if you're going to stay talking about the featherweights.
Well, didn't Dylan Swanepoel immediately call for a title shot at featherweight? I think he might have.
At 0-0.
No,
I
wait.
think you're
Bradley.
the other Swanepoel, yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
That was an impressive
Yeah,
debut.
let him
nice.
fight
Was, eh?
Pierre Botta. That's not a bad fight, actually.
Rocky Alonga, he'd be a.
That dude is scary, eh?
You know, you stand next to him and you're like, how the hell do you
How does
make
he make
featherweight?
featherweight, bro?
Yeah.
I don't know how he
How the
does
heck
it.
do you do that? Like, he's physically bigger than Elaine.
Yeah, he is. He's bigger
Well,
than
it's the
Elaine.
same way that Yannick Bahati used to make middle? Was it?
Steroids.
They got popped,
That
What?
got tested. I seen him get tested, man. I seen him get tested, never got popped. All right, so to go back to the bantams, man, how fucking awesome was Cameron Simon looking?
Yeah.
That kid is
My,
going to be a
my,
champ.
my only concern, I just hope that they groom him the right way.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Let him get to 4-5-0 and then take it from there, because he's a hot prospect. Like, I don't want to see him go 1, 2, 3 straight to a title. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let him get the rounds under his belt.
I don't think he's physically there to fight someone like Faiz, you know?
Yeah.
Devin Cronje 5-1, man.
But, you know, he's
to build a nice bit of steam out there.
He's at UMF now.
Yeah.
Is he at
So
UMF?
it kind of, well, that's what I've heard. It
Well,
kind
he
of.
posted the picture with Sylvester, I think. and
Well,
he was like,
that
surprise,
Sylvester's supposed to
motherfuckers.
be next in line. So now what happens if Sylvester beats
So this
Faiz?
is this is the interesting equation here. So they had that like four fighters kind of battle it out, and then nothing was really decisive because none of them really stuck their hand up. You know what I mean? Because they were both decision wins. I think none of them were like crazily emphatic wins. There wasn't like this massive knockout and then jumped in the mark and said, I'm fucking next. You know what I mean? That's what I was hoping to see. So if you're Graham, who do you see as a number one contender here?
Well,
because
against
surely
Faiz
it's got to be Sylvester, just based on, I don't know,
Based on numbers alone, it's got to be
based on
Sylvester.
fight style. That's
Yeah.
what it's based on.
Imagine seeing, I mean, it won't happen, he'll try to wrestle him again. But imagine seeing Faiz and Sylvester stand in the middle of the cage and kickbox it out. It'll be amazing.
Yeah,
It'll
I
be
think
incredible.
that's the most obvious
It
fight.
is
to
a
be
great
honest.
fight, yeah.
And then you've got to still throw Lutando Biko in that mix. You can't count him out.
I wonder if Philippe Rouge will ever make an appearance back on these shores. I doubt it.
JP will tell you retired him. I think for me, to be honest, if Lutando's coming back, if he's not going to carry on with Pancrase, I think I want to see Sylvester Chipfumbo take Faiz Jacobs for the title, and I want to see Lutando Biko face Devin Cronje for the next number one
I'm
contender.
down on that, man. He's that's very cool.
That one's for free, man.
That's a tough one for Dev, though, man.
Tough one for anybody, dude.
Ish.
Tough one for anybody.
Well,
But I think those are the fights to make.
So Sylvester used to fight a flyweight, didn't he?
Yeah.
And now that is Jake Hadley.
Yeah.
What is going on in that division? And that's not. Come down, Rourke. I want to see the flyweights because if I remember, that is not.
Hey, Warren King. Did you see also Urshad Sayed?
No,
hinting
what did he say? A return.
Yeah, so he messaged Graham. He's like, "Would you stick to your word?" Because he actually should be reinstated as the interim bantamweight champion.
Well, but it's a bit late for that, isn't it?
But that's what he said he doesn't want that. What he wants is an immediate title shot if he comes back.
Against Jake Hadley, who we're not sure what the status with him
it's
is.
bantamweight.
No, bantam.
So he'll fight Faiz Jacobs.
Right. And Demart's coming back. Could you do Penna Syed 3?
Listen, if Demart and Urshad come back
I would be
and they
so
both have
down with
other
that, man.
opposite fights and win, and then fight each other for the trilogy, I'm fucking
That'd
stoked.
be
That
huge.
first one at EFC 66 is one of my favorite bantamweight fights I've ever seen.
It was great
Dude,
fight, wasn't it?
ridiculous.
The striking and
Yeah.
then the grappling and then the wrestling was all just insane.
Because it was a time in Demart's career where everyone was saying he was a boring fighter and he was laying
Yeah.
and praying. And
Yeah.
towards the latter part of Demart's, he's 11-0. The
Was
last
it-
couple of fights, he was starting to show people that he really can put on performances and finishes.
Was it in the first fight where he landed that badass head kick, or was it the second one?
It's the second one.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was
That was
dude.
the second one.
And Demart was just that much better than Urshad
Yeah,
at
it was
the time.
close. It was
at the
close,
time,
man.
You know what I mean?
And he broke. I think Demart broke his hand as well.
Yeah.
He broke that.
Yes, dude, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. We're going to say this with all due respect. With no doping scandal. I'd love to see that fight go down one more time, man. I'm not going to be I'll love to see that.
They're both awesome dudes, man. I remember that fight. Irshad Syed, after weigh-ins, invited me to come to his mosque, to his masjid, for Friday evening prayers. And the next day, his dad came. I think they own a bakery shop in Cape Town, and they came with a big tin of biscuits as a gift. It was
Nice.
just
Very
Lacquer
cool.
family, man. Such a cool ass family.
I spoke to Urshad quite a bit while all this was happening. Like I was interviewing him and Demar to kind of get like both sides, and you could just hear like the deflate in Urshad. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't even like. He was quite like hyped and amped and angry, but this and he kind of came. And I think it's the first time we've actually ever seen it in South African MMA. He was so mentally tired from this whole 2 fight episodes, the fighter series, the back and forth, the media attention, the build-ups, the losing the fights, then popping, then losing the fights, then popping. You know what I mean? Like it was I think it just mentally just exhausted him. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's such a big competitor, and I think having to go through all of that, putting on your best show, narrowly missing out on like the without a doubt probably the most successful champion in EFC history, and then only to find out that he's popped for a substance. You know what I mean?
No, this has to have an ending, and it's still coming. I'll tell you that right now. I'm dead keen. So Arshad, he says he's keen to come back for a fight this year, is he?
That's
Well,
that
he's
would
still
be
living
he's
one
been
of-
hinting at it for a while.
He's still in New Zealand.
I think so.
That'd be one of the biggest fights.
What if
the
you go
UFC could ever
to
make.
City Kickboxing to train? Where's he? Is he near Auckland?
No, he's training somewhere else.
That Dan Hooker fight is a fight I'm looking forward to.
Paul
Holy
Felder.
shit! Holy fuck! That's a great fight.
That is a cracking fight, and everyone missed the Conor McGregor calling out Paul Felder on that.
Well, little man on the desk.
Yeah,
It's not the first time I've heard that.
everyone was like,
Little man on the desk.
yeah, he
How,
can get it.
how cool was Michael Chiesa at the weekend?
I love
When
that.
Cormier goes up to him and says, doesn't even answer Daniel, just
Yeah.
says straight away, I'm calling this off.
Yeah,
Colby Covington, I'll see you in July.
yeah.
That's
That's a great fight, dude. It's
That's a great fight.
great
How good
fight.
did Chiesa look against Rafael
He's
dos
a
Anjos?
beast. He's a beast. Rafael dos Anjos is. Where do you go from here?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Bellator,
Because
dude.
his move weight divisions, he's still not
Yeah,
found
Bellator,
it,
dude.
man. I remember when we first fought. Jeez, who was the guy? Jeremy Stevens. Do you remember that when his RDA's first fight, I think, or second fight in the UFC, and Jeremy Stevens knocked him out with this most disgusting right cross, and Rafael, his ears wiggled as he got knocked out.
hippopotamus.
It was just, it was crazy, man.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know
let's
what.
go. Lightweight. Sorry, flyweight.
Flyweight. Yeah. So,
Is that division dead?
so Jake Hadley's still the champ
I
there,
think
but there's
this
no one in
division
there,
is
man.
done, dude.
Yeah. Conor Hignett no longer. He's at Bellator. Gary's not chatting to the EFC anymore, if I remember. I can't think about that.
No, he said he was going to be active this year.
Is it? I'd like to see him back. He's a cracking dude.
Fafa Dwama, Wade Kuspe, Aziashu's gone up, eh?
Where's Fafa?
Cape Town, bro.
He's training.
I don't know how that guy wins.
Marino can still go to life.
4-1
flyweight.
Fafa Drama. I mean,
I don't know how. Honestly.
oh Marino. I
You
bet
know,
that's
But what do you do with these dudes? Okay, Martin the Beer's gone off. You still got Zulu there. You still got enough contenders, eh? But like a guy like Wade Kuspe, dude, to go to bantamweight is such a tall ask.
yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
What do you do with Zulu boy? 11
I don't
and
know
4.
where. I don't know where he is.
What's his
even.
last two? He's lost, right?
Make him fight Wade Kuspe.
No, it's not fine. I want to see. And then women's divisions, if you go further down, I mean, like, Amanda's still the bantamweight champ, but like that is the shallow division.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
You know,
Bumni, that's the only option.
yeah, it's been an option for quite a while.
Shame.
But again, it's bringing someone else in.
That's a stacked women's division.
So women's
There was
flyweight.
rumors for a while that Shana was coming back.
Yeah, it didn't happen, did it? I don't know why.
A few times it didn't happen.
So I think Alice Ardeline's going to come back because she's training with Joe Cummins. So if Joe comes to fight Elena Lunga,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
understanding
maybe they'll
that
bring
Alice might be on that card.
maybe
which
they'll
would be cool.
bring Lucas Radovic back as well. I like that dude.
Swirodocic. He was a cool dude, wasn't he?
Yeah, I
Hey,
like
Chris,
his style. He
that's
gave
a big
Elena a
guy.
fucking hard time, dude.
Yeah, he did. He's a big guy. He took the shots, that's for sure. And then strawweight division, what's going to happen there? Wojciech, crikey, yeah.
She's still the champ.
Carolina.
She's not coming back, surely. She's been fighting all over.
Yo, didn't she fight at Brave? She did.
So listen, Cheyenne Flismus is gone. Kiara Penko is gone. Daniela Elisov is retired.
Imka Mariska Kokstra only had one fight.
Yeah,
She's more of a kickboxer.
I don't know what happens, yeah.
I like Paula Namba. Her last fight, she had a good reversal on the ground, man. That was in Pretoria, like middle of the year, 2019. And she was impressed to come from a kickboxing background. I forget who her fought, but it was a beautiful reversal from full mount.
Was it
It was really impressive.
Christine?
Christine Vomerantz, yeah.
And she, not Christine's well known for her ground game, but it was still really impressive to see that from Palweta. She's got a great attitude. She's a good kid. I really dug her, man. I really dug her attitude. Yeah, Becky Ainscough. She was a cool ass lad, Scouser.
Yeah.
There was a couple of nice girls in that, but yeah,
She
it'd be
was
great to
completely outweighted in that competition.
She had that
was so small.
hematoma against Manon.
I
in
thought
the
that thing was going to
first-
burst.
Oh, I've never seen anything like it, wasn't it? It was horrific.
I think that was one of the, I think she was like, yeah, I'm okay with fighting.
It was about. It was that movie with what's his name, with Nell and I. How to Get Ahead in MMA. It's like
It was gross.
crazy.
Sure.
Look, it's going to be a great year, man.
I think it is. Hopefully we're going to Cape Town.
We are. It's been booked,
Has it been booked?
as far as I'm aware. Yeah, and
4th of April.
I don't know about Durban and Sun City, but
I
know
don't see that happening.
I'd like to.
You know what I would
I
like
really would.
in my mind? 10 shows,
There are 10 shows booked.
3 in Cape
Yeah,
Town,
10 days.
7 in Pretoria.
10 shows, and let's do a few 8 fight cards.
Yeah.
4 prelims.
No.
Okay.
I think 10 fights. 10 fights. 5 and 5.
No, Rook, no. I've
Five.
just bought my EFC branded colostomy bag for those really 3-round prelims. Commentating those 3-round prelims that go on and on and on and on.
There were
paid for.
you'll remember some of the ones. I think it was starting with 66. That was 14 fights.
Yeah.
I remember getting to the. I think I remember.
9:30 start, main card, bro.
My arms had got raw because obviously you're sitting like this on the cage the whole time. My arms had gone raw from just sitting there.
Dude,
the
I
entire night.
remember like shotgunning and out of Carnival City, and I mean we're in the belly of the East,
Yeah.
and it's still a fucking
No.
drive and a half. Getting home at like 3:30 in the morning, I'm just like, why?
Well, I had the Bisping Henderson 2 fight in Manchester, and that fight started at 5:15 in the morning because that was that was still that was still the Fox days. So it was like the pay-per-view. So it had to be like Eastern time, Eastern Seaboard, the United States. So the main card started at 2 a.m. And Bisping started walking out at 5:15, and I was like absolutely fucking knackered. And then the long ass press conferences, and it was such a long
press
one
conferences are long
because that was when Dan Henderson retired. And so these and it wasn't the UFC scrum. It was bring out one fighter at a time, you know, and then you wait and wait and wait. You got to the hotel at 9:30 in the morning. Anyway,
I drove from the EFC 66 to Durban because we were supposed to leave early the next morning. Yeah. And it ended up going so long that I think I left Times Square at 3:30 in the morning. Got home, packed my bags into the car, passed on the back of the car, and the next thing I knew I was in Durban.
who was driving?
Actually,
He was.
we actually we cycled because the guys the people who I went with came with me to the event. We thought it was gonna be done by 12,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't. So we had to end up cycling because everyone was dead.
Oh mate.
Should we talk about
Old
the Grand Slam champion of MMA?
Chris Cyborg. Yeah, man. What a moment, dude.
Her slicing up.
So that's how it belts
Julia.
and how many different promotions?
4.
Well, it's
4
Invicta,
belts.
Strikeforce, UFC, and
now
Bellator.
That's really quite amazing. Just there's nowhere else really after that. I mean, there's not much point for her to go anywhere else and stay in
The-
Bellator with that kind of payday going on, and the support she's giving to the South African mixed martial
Yeah.
artists right now.
The only
just
question
awesome.
mark is
What next?
Amanda Nunes.
I was thinking about this morning,
Oh,
actually.
what a super fight between Bellator and UFC with Cyborg and
Never
Nunes.
gonna
It
happen.
wouldn't happen,
Never
but it
gonna
would
happen.
make a lot of money, and we'd really want to see that.
So when discussing Cyborg, why did you raise Amanda?
Because it's the unfortunate. So, like, if
That's
she
the only
hadn't
fight.
lost to
For
Amanda,
both.
right?
For both, dude. For both.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Amanda's got no one left. It'll never. It's unfortunate that it would never happen.
No, Amanda's ridiculous. And then she's like, but you can talk about it in the same level as Chris, but it's just they're at very different stages of their career. And I think if Amanda carries on with the trajectory, she'll probably overtake Chris as the GOAT. It's still a conversation where you can compare them, but I think in like 4 or 5 years' time, when Chris is like
Well,
perhaps
she's been-
retired, then Amanda's just I can't see anyone stopping her.
What do they do with her? Because you can't do the Shevchenko trilogy. They're like 3 weight classes apart now.
So Hudo.
Yeah, I know.
Forgot about that story, didn't we? Yeah.
Just a massive shout out to Richie Kwan and the team that was Cyborg, man.
Her wrestling exchanges like those outside leg transfers
Yeah.
was straight out of.
Dude, and also, did you see how? To me, it looked like the fittest she has ever been.
She looked
That
incredible.
months at altitude, dude.
And that
See how
push
that
off.
pays off, bro.
She did that. It was. I don't think she did it the wrong side, but it was very similar to. Or it felt very similar to what Don did to Tay Edwards. That push you like guard off to the side head kick. She fell on it, but she
Yeah,
landed that
yeah.
head kick before falling over. It's a phenomenal fight
Oh,
from her.
since you're talking about things on the wrong side, I want to ask your opinion, and for both of you. There was a fight on the ESPN card at the weekend. I think it was Alex Perez against Jordan Espinoza, and it was an arm triangle.
Yeah,
And
that was a weird one. 'cause
And he was on the completely wrong side.
Yeah, he was kind of
How
like.
did he crank it? It was just pure strength, or
So it was actually like a shoulder position. If you watch what he was doing,
talking his
so
torso.
it was almost like a Von Flu kind of pressure.
Yeah.
So he was almost like still in a half guard position on the wrong side, but he was kind of like,
So using the back of his neck, in fact, to actually trap the arm in, wasn't he?
and he actually uses that top shoulder like almost like a Von Flu.
Was it
and he puts it
was
to
it?
sleep.
Really nice.
Yeah, I think it was that delt pressure. That pressure inside on the
Yeah.
neck.
But
Like a Von
despite
Flu.
being the wrong way.
It's the
Yeah.
same pressure as like a Von Flu.
But Espinosa had that arm stuck in there for a while and was making no effort to get rid of it, and he looked pretty comfortable.
because
the next minute
he was kind of in a position that if he gave up the leg and Perez went over to the right side, it was done. So I think he was kind of just like trying to like hold still and bide his time. I don't think he realized, and then once he slipped that shoulder in, it was done. Yeah, I know, bro. You really think the UFC is going to let you watch that?
I can try my best.
Also, what you can talk about UFC in 2020? There's going to be, is it the year they're going to come?
To South Africa? I don't think so.
Not yet. I think we need. I think
One
I
championship's
think- I
coming.
think like-
one championship have already
They
no
were-
date has been set, but they definitely agreed to come.
They were out here last year, I think.
One
Who?
championship.
Yeah, they were doing like a PR thing here.
Oh, that was an NGO support thing they had going on. It wasn't actually anything to do with MMA. It was the global citizen stuff. It was actually nothing to do with MMA. But Rich Franklin's coming this year in 2020 with his Warrior Series to put on an event here in South Africa this year. Damn well guaranteed.
Well, you heard it first from Mr. Simon Stevens.
What do you mean? No, it's true. They're going to come. One championship will be here.
That'll
It'll
be
awesome.
sick. And yeah, I wouldn't stress with it. Anyways, lads, I think that's that.
we're not done talking. What are you talking about?
What, you want to talk till next week, bro?
We can try.
You're gonna get a hashtag waffle hate mail here, dude.
Oh, but who's that guy? Andre something.
So who is Ben anyway?
Ben Krapinski.
Yeah.
The dude who was what's it? The bounce? The bones?
Was it MMA blogger, journo type dude?
Yeah, he's like a sports journalist.
Oh, okay, cool.
He was the dude who was filming Drickers in the last event. He was
Yeah.
always with Drickers.
Okay, sweet. All right.
Just so you know, Ben Krapinski thinks James Dalton is no good.
So then, talking about 2020, what's the Big Al podcast going to be doing in 2020? What plans? What can we expect from the
Getting
show,
sponsored by Monster.
Yeah, we're getting sponsored by Monster.
Because you are the man in.
We're getting sponsored by Monster.
You are the African MMA journalist now.
Yeah,
what's
I
going on?
think we're always looking for ways to improve. I mean, Warren was at Bellator over the weekend. We covered that event, which was a first for us. Covered our first UFC event last year. Hopefully do some more international events this year. I mean, we did 3 promotions last year. We did EFC, Brave, and UFC. So we've done Bellator this year. Obviously, we'll do EFC as much as we can. And hopefully a UFC and maybe something else in the mix
You
there.
definitely need to get a sponsor for your show because it's absolute cracker. It really is the only MMA show in Africa to listen to right now, and it really does need a fucking sponsor to get that support. Because if you're gonna grow the sport, we talk about how it's great to have fighters now fighting in overseas. Great to have South African athletes and coaches doing really well. But what's going to happen to the South African MMA guys who've just given up so much of their spare time, like you have, for so many fucking years? And that idea about rising tide raises all boats has to extend to people like you, Alistair.
Thank you, sir.
So if it doesn't happen this year for you, I'm going to lose my tits.
Look,
Well,
we'll still be here.
2 of the OGs of the MMA journalism in the studio.
Damn straight.
Well, it's going to be a good year for you, mate. I look forward to it.
Thank you, sir. We'll catch you guys soon. Mr. Simon Stevens, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We're out. Peace.